This is Emsolation.
Hello and welcome to this very special edition of Emsolation Conversations. Look, you may be listening for the first time. You may be here because you're one of my guests' queens. Does that give it away? Today I'm speaking to the incredible, the force of nature, that is Constance Hall. And if this is your first time listening to my podcast, welcome. Maybe this is your first podcast, who knows? This is a safe space, it's a loose space, it's a forgiving and loving space, it's a warm hug. Think Madge from Neighbours meets the woman who works at the Myers bra department. Constance and I went on a journey, as I guess you would expect if you know her and you know me. I think she's one of the bravest people online. I've long wanted to talk to her about, you know, her approach and her resilience, and she did not disappoint. So my name is Em Rusciano and this podcast is called Emsolation, if you've never been here. And I started the podcast, you know, when we were all sent into lockdown way back when, as a safe space, as a place for you guys to escape twice a week, pop in your ears, drown out the sound of your family, your partner, your work, whatever you needed. And then I realised, you know, the world's changed a bit and perhaps you're still going to need a place to go to escape to. So I've kept going. Plus, I really enjoy doing it. I am putting on a live show this Friday night. I'm a stand-up comedian and a singer and a few other things. You know, I like to try everything. And if you've never seen me live, I'd love for you to tune in. You can get all the information at emrusciano.com. It's a crowdcast live stream. I've got a band. My dad's part of that band. I've been working on a lot of isolation gear. There's a lot of jokes that I need to get out of my system before it's irrelevant and boring. I'd love for you to come along. It's $10. I'm behind a big glittery paywall because I'm worth it. emrusciano.com. But it's time now to get to the chat. God, I enjoyed it, and I know you will too. She did the whole thing on her son's gaming headset, which is very Constance. So she kind of looked like Madonna, kind of looked like a middle-aged male gamer, you know, but still fantastic. All right, strap in, prepare. Language warning, of course. You can imagine if Constance Hall and Em Rusciano get together, it's not going to be a polite chat, put it that way. I hope you love it. The person joining me today is someone I've known a while. We've never really met in person, I don't think. It's been more of an online love affair. She's a writer, a designer, an influencer. She's a mother, but that's the least interesting thing about her. She's the one and only Constance Hall. Welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. I feel very honoured with that intro.
Well, it's all true. I've probably missed out 90 other things. You do a lot.
I feel honoured that you picked me for an Emsolation episode.
Well, why? Because it makes total sense. And also, you don't talk to other people very often. You don't do interviews very often, do you?
No, I try and stay away from interviews. I'll do like a big one if I get a big one, but like I don't like doing the tacky small, you know.
No. Thank you for calling me not tacky. That'll be a first. You draw a lot of attention, don't you, lady? You really do. You can't fart without a Daily Mail article.
I know. I sometimes just Google myself just for fun and I'm like, what? Did we nearly burn down our house? Did we nearly divorce?
I know. I did that before I spoke to him. Like, oh, God, I better go see what they've been saying. So you do a Constance Hall Google News and it's like, I'm like, oh, this poor woman. She literally cannot do a thing.
No, and the funny thing is that everybody that hates me comes and comments on all of the things, and what they don't realise is that they're making the media continue to write about me, which is making me relevant, which I really never thought of myself as relevant, you know, my 7 children living in the forest burning down houses. And so I'm like, thank you, because I was worried I was fading off into the distance.
Oh, my God, 7 children. Look, for those of you listening who aren't really across Constance, and there won't be many, just let everyone know exactly how many people are in your household and ages?
Well, we have 9 people in our house. 6 of our children live at home.
Yeah.
My stepdad's living with me at the moment. When he's not here, it's my brother. I always have someone to help me. My stepdad doesn't really help much. And I have 6 children, one of them with my husband. 4 of them are with my ex-husband.
Yes.
And the 2 older boys
Yes.
Have a different. They were from his previous marrige.
Gosh.
So yeah, it's a and there's always room for more.
Oh,
I feel like Pippa. I'm like drunk Pippa of Home and Away.
Oh my God. Drunk Pippa. I always wanted Pippa to be my mum. I thought she was amazing.
I know. Wasn't she beautiful? She had
was
room
so
for
beautiful.
everyone.
Didn't she just? You did recently. I was watching you saying you thought you were pregnant recently, and you're not.
Yeah,
God.
I was convinced I was pregnant. It was a phantom pregnancy.
I go
saw
through that a
nipples and
lot.
everything.
Yeah, I did a pregnancy test this week. I thought I was too. I've
Would you
never
keep
been more
it?
relieved in my life. Oh my God.
Have you had another baby?
Yeah. I'd have 20 kids if I could. My husband, on the other hand, no.
Azalea's so beautiful.
Well, so's Raj. They're not
I
that
know.
far apart in age. How old's your youngest baby?
Raja just turned 2.
Oh, yeah. Leo's 1.5. He is.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's so beautiful having a baby. Because my last experience was twins, and they were born. They're 5 now, and I was just dead set, like I'm never having another child because it was so hard. I was basically on my own, like I was on and off on my own. And then, like, I feel like having Raja, having a husband that doesn't work, he's at home with me, so it's so much easier. And it like feels like I'm ending it on a high. Do you know what I mean?
Same. And I've never been more in love with being a mother. Like, before, I mean, I had my first when I was 21 and then the second I had when I was doing breakfast radio. So I don't even remember that pregnancy or her being a baby because I was out of my head. I was not surviving. And so with this baby, I'm in my 40s and I'm present. Yeah. And I just, it made me really love being a mother again. And it's made me a better mother to my other kids as well.
Yes. Yeah, isn't it really relaxed? I reckon when you have your first ones, because you don't know if it's going to get worse than this. You know, you don't know all this stuff. So you stress out and you miss it. Whereas with your last babies, you realise that it's not going to last forever. The sleepless nights won't last forever. They're going to grow up before you know it. And so you can just really enjoy it without the stress.
It's true. Oh, my God. I love how we've just like gone, don't fucking call us mummy bloggers, and then we've spent the last 5 minutes talking about our kids.
And all we want to talk about is our babies.
Yes, and that's our prerogative, assholes. Far out.
So true. Sometimes even I think to myself, who do you think you are saying don't call me a mama blogger? Your last 10 posts are about being a fucking mother.
It's true. But that's up to us. Like I always feel like people put the word mummy as an insult, as a way to make us less. And
absolutely. It's like daddy. It's so patronizing. You know, like think about a fully grown girl saying, Daddy, can I borrow $100? It's not like something that you would imitate as, you know, a compliment.
No. But also just that like you don't hear men who write, but they're not called daddy bloggers.
That's
you know,
right,
you don't
exactly.
they don't
or working daddies. They're just like men.
I know. Don't even get me started. So many things I want to talk to you about because and this is a lot coming from me, sometimes you put things up and I'm like, can I ask you, is there a post that you have genuinely regretted? Like, is there one thing that you've gone, I wish I could go back in time? Because I know for you, there's no regrets a lot of the time, which is why people love you. You just hang it all out there. Is there one that you're like, geez, if I could go back in time?
I don't think with my public profile so much. I reckon like now that I've had time, now that it's been years, at the time I would have said, fuck, why did I write that? Like I've written some really stupid shit. I wrote something stupid about women who can't have babies and how you know, I had a couple of friends that couldn't have babies and how they just they were the most awesome motherly people and I loved them around my kids and I couldn't understand why they couldn't have kids. They wanted them and, you know, I was like, you know, maybe I was playing God. I was saying, you know, that maybe they make the best mums to kids that don't have mums or the best aunties and that maybe that's their role. That's what they were meant for. And all these parents who couldn't have kids were just like, are you kidding me? I don't want to be an auntie to your child. I want to have my own kid. You have no idea what you're talking about. And I was still kind of learning about how, you know, about the whole Our Voices movement, about how speaking for other people is so shit. And so, and then I didn't know how to, because it was very new since I got a following, so I didn't know how to respond. People started getting really abusive, so I started blocking them. So I'm literally silencing the people that I was talking about. And the whole thing was just such a mess. And I learned a lot. So in hindsight, I'm glad that I did it because I learned from it. But you know what I mean? And I really needed to learn those lessons if I was going to maintain a public profile. But at the time, I was just like punching myself in the head going, why did I do that? And then other things that haters have taken way out of context. And at the time, I'd wish, you know, I wrote a blog about how, and I was completely using my creative license to talk about, it doesn't matter so much that your kid's nappy hasn't been changed, you know, all day and it's dragging on the ground. I would say that in public as a joke. In the written form, everyone took that as bloody out of context, and it was just I think it was one of the blogs that really started gathering my haters together, so they got their own groups and saying that I was the world's worst mum. So at the time I was like, I really wish I never wrote that because that was so stupid because I would never leave my kids nappy on all day. They get a burning rash. Yeah, there's been things that at the time I wish I'd never said, but in hindsight, it's like, you know, it is, everything sort of plays out for a reason. And I learnt my lessons, and I learnt that you got to play a different game online than you can in spoken form. And yeah.
Isn't it hard to stay brave? Like,
it's
really hard to continue to be brave online and speak words, you know, will help other people. But if people deliberately want to misquote you and take you out of context, can be damaging. Like I once went
Especially when they want to, that's right.
Oh, they do. I went to the maternal health nurse when Elio was born, and Scott made a joke that I smoked in bed with the baby, and like it was horrifying. And I said, we came home online and I yelled at him like on camera. And then there was an article on the Daily Mail saying that I smoke in bed with my child. And it was just like,
it's so unfair because it's just such a misrepresentation of who you are.
It is. And not only that, I've never smoked a cigarette in my life.
Like, that's funny. And it's so annoying when you can't be funny anymore because of that shit.
And I was like, all the people that don't know me and know how diligent I am with my kids and just read that headline, and now in their minds, whenever I pop up on the telly, she's the one who smokes in bed with her kid. Like, I'm not.
Do you ever like want to just go, my kid was the dux of the school, wasn't she? Like, didn't she get like ridiculous genius HR? And
did.
like, you know, instead of being relatable and relevant, just go, no, actually, I'm a shining star of a mum. I'm a home cooking mum. I work and do all this shit. So go yourselves.
Well, that's where I've gotten with that. The only place I am completely rock solid on in myself is that I'm a good mother. So I can't say I don't care what other people think of me, because that's a lie, because I'm a performer and I thrive on people loving me. I'm needy, right? But if someone ever tries to throw at me, you're a bad mum, it just bounces off, because the proof is in the pudding with my kids. I've got these glorious children that are the stand-up citizens and smart and brave and kind to people who are vulnerable. And so, sure, say, but I know that's the only thing I know in my life that
so it doesn't bother you, isn't
that
funny?
No, but everything else bothers me. Does it bother you?
Me too, but like people that really want, the people that go, I hate Constance because she's just a fat, ugly slut, I don't care at all. Like, who cares about those trolls? It's the people it's the people that come in and go like, well, I think that she's actually really bad for parents in the country because she's really enabling and normalizing this, and people that sound smart, and then, you know, like that offends me, because I think that's quite a persuasive argument, and I'm actually not. I'm not directing my blogs to parents who should be, you know, in jail, and parents who need to have DCP take their kids away. I'm directing my blog to the amount of normal, gorgeous parents that I know who are too hard on themselves.
Yeah, exactly. Of course. Now, look, I would like to take it back again, just so people who, you know, are learning about you now, that post that exploded. So before this, you were just kind of pottering around on Facebook. You know, you had, and then what was the post that exploded?
Well, it's funny because like I had posts that exploded, but I think, you know, with way more shares and likes, like 100,000 likes and way more shares. But because I wasn't a name, and it wasn't the kind of post that the media writes, it was more of a relatable thing that women were sharing. Yeah. When I wrote a post called Parent Sex, it got a lot of likes. It wasn't my highest reaching one I'd ever done, but it was so like media really wanted to grab it because it was such a good headline and, you know, with such good clickbait. So that's when I started to become Constance Hall and not just Mom Blogger Says, you know.
Now tell everyone about Parent Sex.
Parent Sex was just a blog that I wrote about how shit my sex life was, how I, you know, just had a quickie. I think I was having sex about once a year at the time, so it was really important to me to write about it. Had a quickie while the kids were screaming in the next room and they were watching, you know, bloody cartoons, and we were just trying to hold the foot against the door so no one came in. And basically I was just trying to root my husband so he would shut the fuck up for a few days. And it worked, and then I wrote about it, and it was a 3-minute shag. And, you know, then I was actually driving down to Denmark in WA, which you have to go through the forest and it's out of range a lot. And I was, every time I'd go back in range, I was like, oh my God, this has got like 40,000 shares. And then I was just like, oh my God, you know, all these different news sites that I'd submitted work to for years and no one ever wrote about, no one would ever take on my blogs. And all of a sudden they're all posting stories about me, and some of them were like, so who is Constance Hall? And that made it more about me, less about the blog. And I was so excited, you know, like I was just like, oh my God, this is like all my Christmases come at once. And then I went to the service station and this woman goes, are you that Parent Sex chick? And I was like, yes.
Who'd have thought that terrible 3-minute route behind a door would launch an empire?
Like, it's funny because online I feel like, especially when you're in the realm of parenting, I feel like the worse shit is, the better it is for content.
Yeah.
Whereas like the better things are getting, because I think 2016 I blew up, my book went really well. And then 2017 I got to, move down south where I wanted to live in the house that I loved. And I broke up with my husband and I fell in love with the man of my dreams. And then I didn't really have any content that anyone gave a shit about because it was just like, yeah. Like people much prefer it when things are going badly.
Oh my God.
Like, Denim, can you have an affair or something? Because no one's liking my posts.
Well, it doesn't matter because I feel like you and Denim are getting a divorce 4 times a week if we believe the press.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Denim is the dream man, but he is lazy beyond, he's
mate.
much lazier than I write about because I don't want people to really hate on him more than they already do.
I wanted to ask you about that because I'm not allowed to anymore discuss when Scott and I have an argument because, he feels it's unfair. Because you and I mean, me to a much lesser extent, but we have the ability to turn a mob on and off. So I have to be very careful. And I also have to monitor comments on my Instagram post. If someone writes something awful about me on an Instagram post for their own good, I have to delete their comment, not so much because it's hurt my feelings, because I know what's coming.
Yeah, I know. And then you get backlash because people go to me, some queen, your page is full of bitches that turn on me if I say anything bad about you. And it's like, just what would your friends do if they heard something bad about you? Of course they'd all go fuck off.
Exactly. So what does Denim feel about, because you're very open, if you're having a fight with him, all your queens know that you're having a fight with him. And you've got millions of queens.
Yep.
So how does Denim feel? Does he feel it's a fair, because he doesn't really have any, he can't really come back. He doesn't have the same.
Denim has a blog. Let's not forget. It's not my fault no one's reading his post. It's there if you want to search for it, you can find it. You can Google what's Denim's blog and find it. I'm not going to give it a shout out now.
You're such an evil mole. My God.
The good thing about me and Denim, right, is this. When my blog took off, I relate to you in so many ways, and I think that you relate to me in the fact that everything else in my life just sort of, no, it doesn't matter. I put my career first. This is my, I need to do it. That's how I support my kids. I'm a bit like a man like that, Whereas I have quite a few friends that go, oh no, I'll do the kid thing for a while. I'll let the husband have the work for a while. And I'm just like, no, me first.
Yeah,
because if I'm thriving, I can make them thrive,
Same.
And so, when the blog took off, I was already sharing everything, and this is who I want to be. And I'm an extrovert anyway, so it's quite natural for me to just share things. That's how I process things quite, externally. And I'm definitely not cagey about, there are certain things that I don't want people to know, of course, but I'm definitely not that cagey about the ins and outs of my love life and stuff. So in my first marriage, that was a compromise, what do I say? What can I say? Do you mind if I say this? Then when we broke up and I met Denzi, it was like, this is what I do, like it or not. If you want to be a part of my life, everything that we do is public. And, if you love me, or don't, that's totally cool. But it's just it's how I make my money. It's how I support my family. And he was just like, hey, I actually couldn't give a shit. I couldn't give 2 fucks what people say about me. Denim was a drug addict for 20 years. So he has used to people absolutely hating him, thinking he's the scum of the earth, all the rest of it. And then when he got clean and looked after his kids on his own because his ex passed away, she committed suicide, and he did this huge, beautiful journey around the country with them. He wasn't out there bragging to everyone and saying, this is the new me, I'm clean, I'm this and that. He actually just doesn't care. So people might say stuff about us and I'll be like, oh my God, did you hear that nanny that we used to have said that we're really messy and blah, blah. Can you believe that after everything we did for her? No. And then we'll be like, nah. You just let it go. And that's just who he is. He doesn't take anything personally. So he doesn't really give a shit. Sometimes he does say, you've got to ease up on the lazy shit, man. Denim is crap. Denim is this, denim is that. It's probably not good for your career if I am such a shit husband. And I'm like, well, I can't make shit up, Denim. Get up and do some housework.
Oh, my God. Yeah, Denim, if you want to change the narrative about yourself, change yourself.
Yeah, change it yourself, man.
Make your bed, do the washing. Don't expect a medal when you cook a dinner.
That's right, exactly. Yeah. I think the excitement of having, because he's quite extroverted too, so the excitement of having people talking about him in the beginning was awesome. It was just like, oh my God, there's 3,000 comments of people talking about my life, and it was really cool. And then that wore off real quick, I think he very quickly realized that if you don't work it, there is no benefit to having people know who you are.
Yeah, true.
You don't just get rich because people know who you are. You have to work really hard to monetize your following and figure out a way that's really authentic, so you're not being slimy and, slipping in an ad for a washing machine in the background and that crap. So, he realized that people knowing who he was wasn't really going to benefit his life at all, but he gets what I do and that it all is all part of a big wheel.
I think it's exceptional that he gets it and is because not many men would be secure enough within themselves to
that's true.
Leave themselves open, but make a fucking bed, Denim. So what I want to ask you is, I'm really obsessed with, I guess, just studying social movements and the way the mob goes, and people seems to with you especially, you're very divisive, and I love that about you because it means you stand for something. People who stand for something, usually there's a black or white feeling about them. There's no, mishy-washy, mediocre lukewarmness. It's either love or nut, don't want a bar. So I've got an idea why I think you rub women up the wrong way. I'd love to know what you think. Why do you think you piss certain women off?
Well, first of all, on that topic, let me just say that I've texted you a few times in my career, and I'm really grateful for that time that I texted you when I got my first radio gig, or my only radio gig. and the mob just turned and they were like, "Why would you put that feral bitch on air?" No, I'm not listening. And I was just like, "Oh my God, Gemma's going to dump me because everyone hates me." And you were like, "Stop it. The reason that they've got you is because you're polarizing." And that just really took a load off. And I think I've carried that advice with me a lot. Like, you're polarizing. And I always replay that in my head. And it's like, not everyone's going to love you, but that's why certain people will love you.
Yes.
And so I use that now as more of a superpower than a chink in the armor.
It is a superpower because that old thing, well-mannered women are not remembered.
Yeah, that's so true.
It's just, there's nothing wrong with standing for something, and not everyone's going to agree with you. But do you know why you do rile certain women up? Especially, and women come for you harder than men. Let's point this out.
Yeah, they do. And I try and ignore that a lot because I try and, do the pro-women thing. But the truth is that women are definitely the hate groups and stuff are made up of women. And I've studied it a lot, and Denham had a point as well where he said, I think that, like someone like yourself, you've got a career in radio and as a musician and as an entertainer and performer. So I can go and watch you perform and I can be like, wow, Em is fantastic. Em is so good. I really love watching her. Whereas if I watch somebody who had the same skill set as me, which is basically just like able to sort of be funny on the fly and was able to sort of work her personality and shine a bit, I might get really pissed off at her because I know that I could do that better. And that's not fair. Like when you see John Butler playing guitar, you can't play guitar like John Butler can. Whereas when you see me blogging something online and being really successful, you could do it better. So it sort of gets people a little bit, the closer to home a celebrity or a, person in this spotlight is, the more it sort of hurts. Like people really hate on Tones and I in Australia because she was a street performer and all of a sudden she's just been rised up. So I think all of the people think that could be me. I could do that, get really shitty. Whereas then you see the Billie Eilishes and she can, she's this huge 40 million, fans from America, and it's safe to fangirl her because you know that you couldn't do that yourself. So I do think there is an element, like Denham always says to me, I swear to God, it's people hate you because you don't have that skill set. You are just your average woman.
Oh my God,
people think that they could be doing it. And I think that's kind of true.
You're wrong.
Well, I think they're wrong as well because I don't think that they realise how long I've been writing for and been teaching myself to communicate better and to get my point across easier and all that stuff. But I think from the untrained eye, from the outside, it does look like I am just a, woman bitching about my life. What's so special? I think that's what the narrative is. What's so special about her? How come she gets to be successful?
I'm standing up. We have such different opinions on this.
What's your opinion?
Wow. I was not expecting you to say that.
Really? I'm not saying it in a putting myself down way. I'm just saying
you
it in
are. Let me tell you, first of all, you're going to be quiet for once, woman. You're going to listen. first of all, what you do is not easily done. You're an incredible communicator. You're a great writer. You're able to take complex issues and make them palatable and understandable for people who are in hurt and in tough times. You can't downplay what you do. I believe that you rub women up the wrong way because you are so open and comfortable with the darkness and the yucky parts of yourself. And I think that triggers women who are repressed with those things. And I think that you invoke shame in some women because you are so easy with mess, with heartache, with fighting, with anger, and with all the things that traditionally we all try to keep hidden, and then we paint this perfect picture. And I think because you're comfortable with that, it makes some other people uncomfortable because they would like to be you. And I think the fact that you're overtly sexual and you're happy with your body and you're sexy, and it's almost like, how dare you be that when I would like to be that, but I'm so repressed I can't. And I think that you remind women of their shame and their repressment sometimes, and that's why they lash out at you. That's what I
like
think.
your version more. I just got goosebumps. No one's ever spoken about me like that before.
Yeah, I think you are too successful for anyone, and even yourself, to think that this is a fluke, that this is a shot in the dark, that you were just lucky that it was a viral thing. You have sustained this and you have grown, and you're a real brand, and you sell clothes, and you are a CEO. And I think it's time for you and other people to take you more seriously, because you've proven it. You're a stayer. It's been years, and you've got this loyal community who see you and love you for what they see. And I think that it's really important that everyone focuses on that, especially you. And that's what I do now. I now just focus on the people that see me, and after they see me, still love me. And they're the people I want to make art for. And I think I stopped trying to go after all the people. I was obsessed with winning people over, even people in my own community, in the comedy community. And I started focusing on the people that already were here in my corner.
Yeah.
And that's when you can truly say, haters going to hate, fine, I'm not going to listen. Because, I was always taught that you don't cop shit from people you wouldn't ask for advice. And that is something that I hold really close to me all the time. So I don't want to ever hear you think that the reason people don't like you is because they think that they could do what you do. I think that they're very jealous that they can't do what you do. And look, maybe there's some cases where you're pissing people off because, they do keep their house clean and there's a cushion on the ground at Constance's house. But in the end, it's a them problem, not a Constance problem if they have an issue with you, because your kids are loved and safe and cared for and fed, and that's all that matters, and that's all they're going to remember.
That's exactly what I think as well. I've always had that, that I feel as if, and how you said before that when people say that you're a good mum, you're shit mum, you just know that it doesn't bother you at all. And I would like to be at that stage because I feel like I'm still trying to prove my way of parenting is success. It is all that they need and all the rest of it, and they will have their ups and downs, and they won't be duxes of the school because none of them are smart enough.
They're so artistic.
Yeah, that's right. And I nurture that. So I do hope that one day I can say, like, look, they're all happy and they're all well adjusted, and they are now. So they're polite and gorgeous. So I do think that you're right. Like when somebody gets, pissed off because I'm not doing the extras curriculum activities and doing everything, all that, it's their own issue. And I always say to myself, like, if somebody wants to call me this and that and say all that stuff about me online, like if they came up to me on the street and said that, what would I say? I would say to myself, wow, this person's obviously got mental issues and they've escaped from an asylum or something, because nobody just does that. Nobody that I know just goes up and says something horrible about people. So I remind myself, if this was face-to-face, would you take it on or would you be worried about them? You'd be worried about them,
Yeah. So I want to flip it on you.
Thanks.
What kind of community do you want to have and create? Like when you think about your queens and when you think about Constance Hall as a brand, although we hate that word, what is the overall, environment and feeling you want people to get from you and what you've made?
Well, when I go and do my tours, right, I meet these women, and I don't think people really understand how damaged and broken the majority of us women, especially when we go into parenting, are. Yeah. I get so many tears on my shoulders of people who have been, controlled by emotionally abusive people, or they've had their children taken from them, or whatever. It is hardship. And, people that have had drug problems. And I think because I talk so much about so much stuff, they feel okay and they feel safe to talk to me about things that they've really not been allowed to talk about to anyone, especially online. So that I love the idea that people can be vulnerable and can be open, because I always say 50% of our problems are that we feel like we're alone with our problem. So like I've got a problem and 50% of it is not feeling like anyone else understands. Then I go and talk to a friend and she's like, oh my God, the same thing's happening to me. We both have a laugh about it. We have a drink, we get over it, and we feel so much stronger. Like I can handle this now. So I want people to realize that they're not alone and to have that real, camaraderie with each other. And there are people like yourself. I remember you wrote a blog once about Jennifer Aniston and like that dickhead she was married to, Ben. What's his name?
Brad Pitt.
And he was maggoted in the back of the car, and she was handing him a burger, and his mum sitting in the back seat, and you were just like, go girlfriend, you deserve a medal for this. And I just want to be able to write like that. I want to, because so many people would have read other blogs on that and gone, yeah, she's enabling the drunk and she's doing this and that. But if you write something positive about her, if you would notice yourself, all the comments are just like, yeah, she's a legend.
Yeah.
And you've really changed the tone. So if I can do that and other people can do that, and more of us are just writing positive stuff about women and trying to change that narrative of like, what a bitch, what a this, I'm better than her, and competitiveness, then it's possible to be funny. You don't have to be nasty and bitchy to be funny, like you can actually be funny and raise women at the same time. And, it's entertaining, and it's just what women need right now. We need to be shown a way in order to follow that way, because we just take on everything that's around you. And I see my little girl, who I've always said to her, like, no bitching, like, don't do that, don't fall for that. You can be friends with everyone. And then I see her just falling for it, because that's just the way little girls are in school and all the rest of it. And I have her having a sleepover one night with like her best friend, and then the next night bitching about that friend. And I'm like, what are you doing, girlfriend? And she's like, I don't know, like it just came out. And I'm like, it's something that we have to actively, continually stop ourselves and other people, like I'm definitely not going to say I don't bitch about people, because I do, but I try and pull myself up when I do it now. And women, obviously I love a gossip, don't get me wrong, but I try and gossip in a like friendly tone. And I notice that if I say nice things about other women, my friends will say something nice about someone else. It's just contagious. It kind of spreads like wildfire.
Yeah, it does. It does. And it also heads it off at the pass if that person was about to say something awful.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you feel really ashamed of yourself. If you're about to start bitching and they say something nice, you're like, oh, shit.
But it's teaching teen girls to not bond over bitching. And that is like so many relationships are formed and cemented through bitching. And that's a really...
You're so clever, Em, because I completely agree.
Yeah.
What do they say? Like having an enemy in common.
Yeah.
And it's just so true. That's what girls need to do. They need to bond over other things.
Correct. Yes, I agree. What are you working on at the moment? What's happening in Constance Land? You've always got something on the boil.
I do, yeah. At the moment, I'm about to launch, which I haven't said anything about yet, but I'm about to launch another brand called Queenify, which is like I'm collaborating with women in business, and they're making products for Queenify, and then we're releasing them, and that will come out in the next month, I think. And then I got heaps of clothes coming and some really cool hair products. I've just got stuff coming out. Like I just feel really, really lucky, because it's just always kind of been my dream. Like I'm always thinking about, I wish that I had a hair product that did this and this, and now I can go out and make it, or like I wish I had a pair of pants that did this and this, and for short people, and like my business partner is just like, really, you want to do a short version and a long version? I'm like, yeah.
Constance, you're not lucky. You've worked your ass off, and I need you to change that around. So I'll be charging you for this counselling session, by the way, bitch.
I think I feel lucky because I enjoy what I work. I do work my ass off, and I work real hard. I do it in something that I enjoy, and because I did so long and doing it in something that I didn't, that's where I feel lucky,
Yeah. No, I too am very. I love that I get to do what I love. I mean, I just couldn't imagine doing anything else. So I completely understand where you're coming from. Well, that's exciting. I think we've probably solved all the world's problems in 32 minutes.
I agree. What a lovely chat.
Thank you very much for taking the time. It means a lot. And, I look forward to when you put your own podcast out.
Thank you.
And it will be amazing. I'm encouraging you to get going on that, but I know you have a million other things to do. Is there any parting words you want to leave any queens listening with? I'm giving you my platform. I'm giving you the mic.
I don't know. I hate it when people say that to me. Like, buddy, Ali did that to me on my 60 Minutes interview, and I was like, you could have given me a week's warning for something wise.
You've always got something good. You've always got something good.
No, honestly, I just want to part saying thank you so much for having me on your show. You've always been, ever since you were like blogging years and years and years ago, you've been someone that I looked up to. So to be able to like bond with you and have a little bit of a sisterhood in the industry going on, I'm really honoured.
100%. I am here. I will always help you and stand beside you, of course.
I know you do. You're so sweet.
And pull you up when you're putting yourself down. On that note, well, thank you so much, Con. And look, we look forward to everything that's coming from you. And again, you know, you're a legend. Keep doing what you do. And honestly, just focus on the people that love you. If I can leave you with anything, don't cop shit from people you wouldn't ask for advice.
Good,
all right?
Good advice, Em.
Thanks, Con. Talk soon.
Thank you.
Oh, well, I'm both uplifted and exhausted. What a woman. She's a whirlwind, isn't she? She's just all raw nerve endings, and I see her and I get her. You can follow her. Look, you'll know. She's at Constance Hall everywhere. I don't even need to tell you. She's got 2 million followers. She's an incredible woman. And I want to thank you again for listening to another Emsolation conversation. The next one coming up will be with Tina Arena. Yeah, that's right. I know. It's pretty exciting. And if you thought Constance was like really giving the energy, you wait till you hear Tina. I'm really picking my high-powered women. So that's going to be coming out next week. We're very excited with that. But, yeah, don't forget tomorrow, regular episode will be coming out of Emsolation. I hope you got something out of that chat. I certainly did. I'm ready to go and fight a bear. I don't know why. She always pumps me up. All right, chat soon, guys. Bye.